So I think there's a possibility that Greenland, or a portion, the northern part of Greenland, a small portion of it, um, could have been the Garden of Eden. This, and let me tell you how I came across this and why I'm bringing this up. So there's the verse in the Bible that God sits above the circle of the earth, okay? It's like the Arctic Circle is the, and above that is God. You know, God threw Lucifer out, and he made Adam and Eve leave the garden, and it's almost like they had to go down a level. So I'm just saying, try to look at the globe that way, with the Arctic being the top, God up here, okay? So if you had a portion of Greenland as part of, that was once the Garden of Eden and now is just ice, well, because, you know, they had to leave, it would make sense. I mean, really, Greenland is the closest to the circle, really. There again is the circle of the earth. God says, I sit above the circle of the earth. And we know that, at least from what Scripture says, that Eden, it wasn't in heaven. But it's like it was it would have been on earth. So I think it was Greenland, and I'm saying that even more so because of this. 2 million. Oh, I hate when they say it, because I don't buy this 2 million-year-old planet stuff. 2 million-year-old, but the oldest DNA unveils ancient Greenland landscape. Unlocking the oldest known DNA revealed a lost Greenland from 2 million years ago. Yeah, or some articles, they say 450,000. This is where I think the science just pulls these numbers, because everything they do, it's like it's to try to disprove the Bible, and, well, they're failing, but many people will buy much of their... Like I said, if they wanted to be legit, they shouldn't have been trying to disprove so much of the Bible all the time. It shows that they have a bias. So an article from 2007 says, fossil DNA proves Greenland once had lush forests. Ice sheet is surprisingly stable. This is from the University of Copenhagen. Ancient Greenland was green. New Danish research has shown that it was covered in conifer forest and had a relatively mild climate. It does not sound like a description of Greenland, but scientists say this is what the island looked like. Like, this is a generated image of what it would have looked like. But scientists say this is what the island looked like 500,000 years ago. They were able to paint the picture by extracting what is probably the oldest known DNA from the ice at the base of the Greenland ice sheet. With no ice sheet, sunlight would have warmed the soil enough for tundra vegetation to cover the landscape. The oceans around the globe would have been more than 10 feet higher, and maybe even 20 feet. The land on which Boston, London, and Shanghai sit today would have been under the ocean waves. Yeah, I mean, obviously the landscape changed once God flooded the place, but this was before the flood. So all of those things would have been, you know, where we're sitting right now, some of us, a lot of us, we were underwater once, when Greenland was likely the Garden of Eden. I mean, nobody's saying that. It just seems to make sense to me. Researchers say southern Greenland was covered in conifer forests. It goes on to say, all this happened before humans began warming the Earth's climate. The atmosphere at the time contained far less carbon dioxide than it does today, and it wasn't rising as quickly. The ice core and the soil below are something of a Rosetta Stone. for understanding how durable the Greenland ice sheet has been during the past warm periods and how quickly it might melt again as climate heats up. So I've been saying for several years what these people, like, your World Economic Forum, your people that have been up to no good, you know who they are. The reason they push this is because they do fear climate, but not because you don't need to, because they know there's a God, and they know that if the ice starts melting, it's because God's saying, changing days are coming. Yeah, that's what it is. So that's why they have this desire to lock everybody down, do everything they can, because they know their time. They know their time is up. Eventually, they know their time is up. All the light bearer, the false light bearer, can do is delay it. And they've done a good job at delaying it. But, God's on a schedule. He's not going to change his schedule. Doesn't matter how much the climate crazies want to carry on. But I've been saying I don't think any of us have to worry about climate change. They do. They have to worry about it. That's why they want to get to Mars or upload their consciousness to the cloud really quickly. I mean, that's what it's all about. And what else they realized was that mastodons would have been were around back then. So these are in the elephant family. These have been found, bones of this, in America too. Not an elephant, but it's way bigger than an elephant. Yeah. So, also, it says here regarding, over the past million years, Earth's climate was punctuated by relatively short warm periods, typically lasting 10,000 years, called interglacials, when there was less ice at the poles and sea level was higher. The Greenland ice sheet survived through all of the human history during the Holocene, the present interglacial period of the last 12,000 years, and most of the interglacials in the last million years. But moving on to this. Oh, I meant to get, I forgot, I was going to take a picture of one of their teeth. Their teeth are humongous. They're molars. So these mastodons are from the elephant family, obviously. They were also in 1776. Peter Gallison credited Irish trader George Crocan for having sent him and Benjamin Franklin, fossil evidence, and Benjamin Franklin fossil evidence of the mystery, sent them fossil evidence of the mysterious proboscideans, using them for studies. He concluded that the peculiar grinders, the molars, were built for diets of eating branches of trees and shrubs, as well as vegetation. Yeah. So I have never heard of these. Maybe some people have. Obviously they have, because they have them in museums. This is their tusk on average is 55 inches long. And I believe this is Ohio. The excavation of a specimen in a golf course in Heath, Ohio, 1989, and a replica of the burning tree mastodon, complete skeleton. And this is another one that's in the Natural Museum in London. So I'm showing these because these would have been in this part of Greenland where the oldest DNA was found of the land, or that they did in 2007, and they said these would have, even though that picture I showed at Garden, or that pretty picture of the elephant, these would have all been part of it. They would have all been able to inhabit that. Butterflies, everything. So maybe there's a bigger reason people want to have Greenland, because it has some biblical connections for sure, I believe. We'll see.